Hi, I'm Alan Salzman. I am your facilitator / instructor / guide for this class. Here's some contact information about me. By the way, all of this information is on a PDF or a Word file at the course information end of this class online in Moodle. The fastest and most secure way to get a quick response from me is to send me a private message through the messaging feature in the Moodle course area. I try to log on at least 6 days a week. You can also email me at alansalzman@triton.edu, but Moodle messaging will be fastest, and I will generally respond to you within 24 hours during the work week. Grades are normally posted within 2 to 3 work days after the end of a module. Here's a little background information about me. At Triton College, I retired in 2015 as department chair and full-time professor of history, sociology, and the humanities in an award-winning interdisciplinary program in the College of Arts and Sciences called the Undergraduate Center. The center pioneered online interdisciplinary teaching at the college and was in the vanguard of interdisciplinary online teaching nationwide in the 1990s and after. At Dominican University since 1999, I've taught courses in European and American intellectual and art history, the history of the American Civil War, and Pacific world history of the 18th and 19th centuries. I've developed many courses in the disciplines I teach on Blackboard, Canvas, and Moodle. At the University of Illinois, Springfield, I teach IA Gold 2051, which is Internal Advocacy for Online Leaders, QA 2131, which is Quality Assurance in Online Learning, and FS 2231, Faculty Support for Online Leaders. I hold a master's degree from the University of Chicago in the Committee on General Studies in the Humanities, and a PhD in the Social Sciences from the University of Chicago in the Committee on Social Thought. Here are a few rambling reflections and a few assumptions about this course, which I haven't taught before. My understanding is that every one of you who is enrolled in this course serves in the role of administrator or administration or policy formation at some level in your institution. Or you're interested to serve at some point in a governing capacity in the future, whether it be as an assistant to an assistant, department chair, a dean, a college president, or as a member of a board of governors or a board of trustees. What unites all of these roles is a broad desire to support faculty as effectively as possible, and especially in the online environment. For those of you who have so served in administration, you know, or I assume you know, that support of online faculty and online programs is not easy for a myriad of reasons, which we will share throughout this course. There are many sources which point out the difficulties with providing adequate support for teaching from the perspective of the leader. But to speak specifically about support for online teachers and programs, from my limited perspective, the campus administrator was whipsawed back and forth in the COVID and now the post-COVID era. This is another assumption I'm making. Moving with great suddenness from one set of unknown unknowns to another. You can confirm or reject that assumption. In 2019 and 2020, in the beginning through the middle of this crisis, the question for campus leaders was, how does our campus transition to the provision of online instruction and support for teachers teaching remotely? How do we get teachers who are not online teachers, never expected to become online teachers overnight, and especially those teachers who are reluctant to transition to online, but whose classes, nevertheless, are critical to the mission of the university or college. How do we attain and guarantee quality, assuming we can get them there? This entailed an overnight reorganization for many schools, probably for your school. Many stepped up to this challenge and were successful, but some schools barely survived because their enrollments tanked. At the moment I write this, survival is still questionable for some schools. Well, now, here in the post-COVID era, leadership is concerned with how the post-COVID campus will look. Will students who are now accustomed to remote learning return to the physical campus? Or will they find the return to the physical campus an onerous inconvenience? If so, does that mean that the online proportion of the student population will permanently increase relative to the on-campus proportion? Have increased employment opportunities in some sectors of the economy, coupled with rising inflation, caused students to reject education for job security? If not reject education entirely, will they choose job security and maybe 1 or 2 online classes during their off hours? And if there is a decline in face-to-face teaching, what does that mean for our brick and mortar facilities? These are just a few questions which are whirling around in the present environment. So the question for us is, how do we support our faculty in this period of rapid change? For those of you who've completed the ION course QA2151, Quality Assurance in Online Learning, you will recall that online faculty support was dealt with briefly in one of the modules, as well as support for online students. However, in this course, we will do a deep dive. We will go into greater detail, and we will try to discover together exactly what are the problems needing solutions and what kinds of support are most effective in this unusual time in the history of higher education. As you've probably guessed, there's going to be a lot of openness, a lot of give and take, nothing taken for granted. So please reply to this posting. Tell us a little bit about yourself, including your role where you are working, your experience with faculty support, or the lack thereof, or the difficulties thereof, which you encounter in your institution, and what you need to get out of this course, and maybe a question or two that you might have for the rest of us about faculty support for online leaders. I greatly look forward to our time together in this class. Welcome.